beautiful brother Andrew. Thank you for coming on today, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
I was trying to think the other day, was our first gig together up in Mount Adams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would have been probably a chapter brunch.
Yes, and we met through Brandon.
Yeah.
Cool. Those were good days, man. The bottomless mimosas was what brought him in, but it was the food that made him stay.
Yeah. Those were fun Sundays for sure.
Yeah. When did you get your start as a chef?
I guess I started in the restaurant industry itself, just working at McDonald's when I was 16, 15.
No way.
And then kind of just evolved from there, working in kitchens and then the bar side of things for a while. And then now more so on the restaurant side with Good Plates. And we've been a little over 5 years there now.
That's incredible. Are you happy that you chose such a bumpin' like part of town to have that location? Because every time I come to eat down there, I'm like, dude, there is no shortage of people that are coming in here, and there is definitely a shortage of parking. Where I feel like I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight Clifton Knights to get my Suburban in a spot.
Exactly. One of the biggest things that kept us going with that spot, because we opened pretty much right in the heart of COVID, like right at the start of it, I should say. And we had put a deposit down. We were kind of like, should we keep going? And it was a location that kind of like wanted us to keep pushing, because like the former restaurant there, Cilantro, I used to go to all the time. Loved just that area. I mean, the visibility of the place is huge.
Yeah. What was Cilantro like?
It was a Vietnamese restaurant.
Cool.
It was just a place. It was just really good food.
So outside of working in a kitchen and a lifetime of learning how to bring the cuisine you love to life, do you still make time outside of this to be a foodie and to go out? Or are you a creature of habit where you're like, no, I was already going to this place 5 days a week, I might as well keep doing it on my own dime?
I mean, I was definitely going to Cilantro probably 2 or 3 times a month at least.
Okay, cool.
So like it was really one of my favorite restaurants, and the guy Darren that owned it was great.
You just kind of keep a rotation of like your favorites.
Yeah. And then I mean, when I have time now, and now mostly like if I'm not working, I'm just at home. I'll make dinner at home, usually Sundays or Mondays.
Yeah. How big's the family at this point?
So I have my wife Jamie, and then our twins Gibson and Posey.
And what's it been like to go from cooking for yourself, where like I'd imagine there's things I can serve in the restaurant, there's this beautiful menu I've crafted so hard, then I go home and I fuck around, I make what I want, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have kids, and it's like now I have picky eaters that I must tend to before my wife and I.
So my daughter her favorite meal is Dewey's Green Lantern Pizza, which is mushrooms, artichokes, goat cheese.
How old is this kid?
They're 7.
That's quite the palate for a 7-year-old.
What else? I forget there's something else on there too. And pesto. So, I mean, she'll eat half a large one herself.
That's incredible.
She loves it. And then Gibson, my son, he wants like a plain hamburger or like a hot dog and like chips.
Yeah.
Like,
what were you like as a kid? Which side do you fall on?
I'd eat pretty much anything.
Okay. Your brother the same?
Yeah. We kind of grew up where we were very like, dinner was at this time and we had a meat and a starch and a vegetable, and my mom would kind of like just rotate through what meals we had. It's like, if we're having pork chops, like we're having applesauce with it. Like,
yeah. And so the plating is always kind of the same in that regard.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you took a lot of things from your household meals as a kid and brought them into your style these days? Or was it kind of branching away from that because it was rotation?
I would say maybe a little bit of both. Kind of more of like the pairing of like I really love like, not that we don't have pork on the menu at Good Plates, but like if I have like a roasted pork sandwich, like I really want coleslaw with it. So like it's kind of like kept my palate like throughout.
Yes, there's certain things there just it reminds you so much of.
Yeah. Or like if I'm having like my favorite meal to this day still is like roast carrots and potatoes, and like just that hearty, just like cook all day.
And that's like a childhood classic for you?
Yeah, that was always always my favorite growing up.
Yeah. So I'm just starting to take cooking lessons from my mother, and it's incredible to like, as an adult, start to think back on your childhood of the artwork that is a good meal and the plating around it and the way that you choose the things that are included with it, and how one day you kind of turn that light on and it never goes off to what really matters about good food in your life. Like, was there a moment where your world really got lit on fire with the fact that you could be a chef, or was it just like cooking has always been part of who you are?
I would say more just like cooking and food. I've always just enjoyed it, and I never even really thought because like once I got into the bar side and like management roles of like running bars and restaurants, never really like thought I'd be like in a kitchen cooking 60 hours a week after that. But so it was always just something I like enjoyed, and then once we got the restaurant going and like had the family, so it's instead of wanting to work 12-hour days from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Now it's from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
But knowing I needed to do something a little bit different, and knowing like there's not a whole lot of difference between the management side of everything. It's just, are you making drinks? Are you making food? But it just helps that I really enjoy making food. So like, in terms of like being a chef, like I'm not classically trained. I didn't, excuse me, I didn't have like kind of grow up in that side of like the restaurant world where I was like learning from different people. A lot of it is just like, yeah, self-taught, or just like you said, like learning from my parents growing up and being around it and having that, yeah, like that, and then that flip switched for with the restaurant where you really start, the creativity can come through and you're not just thinking of one meal, you're thinking of 25 different items.
Yeah.
And it's like, I knew, like, I love meatball subs. So I'm like, oh, we're going to have a really good meatball sub.
Yeah. So what on the Good Plates menu was in that list of like, okay, now that the constraints are all out the window, I can offer just what I want. What were like the childhood memories you brought back, and then just like the mad concoctions that maybe you're making for yourself when you go home and everyone else is asleep?
So one thing we do in terms of like concoctions, we have, like I really like making sauces. That's probably one of my like favorite things to do. So for like our wings, we have a flavor of the month, and it's always, not always, most of the time it's like, right now it's like an Italian barbecue that has, it's just a really crazy flavor. I mean, then sometimes we'll just house make like a teriyaki or whatever. But that's being able to kind of experiment and have fun with that, and not have it be something that's like print a whole new menu and it's like add this flavor and then it's like not working, and be able to just like, so it literally on the menu just says flavor of the month.
And to have that continual freedom is enough refreshment.
Yeah, and it's because like you want within the menu, you want the consistency, and you want people to develop like their favorites and have regulars and all that kind of stuff. And like, so we'll also do different just like one-off specials as we get different different items in, or just get kind of bored. Like I started doing this thing on Wednesday that I call Fun Food Wednesday, and I'll just either get some at the store in the morning, or if we have like leftover product from an event, and just make 3 or 4 items, and it's like I'll post it on Instagram and be like, if you want one, like come on in, like there's a few left.
And do you find that being in like a college kid part of town leads you to regulars that are a little more willing to experiment?
Yeah, for sure. And it's getting, as people come in and like maybe they've been a regular and they eat the same thing, like maybe they have a little bit more trust on just like make me whatever type. Or we also just have the same people that come in and they've been in 50 times and they've gotten the same thing every time.
Dude, I definitely understand that feeling, but I feel like, you know, certain places just have a menu that leads you to go reading about. Like, I can't remember exactly what I had last time. I brought my friend Tasia in, and I know that she got some kind of Brussels sprouts on the side that were banging my world out. But, you know, there's just something about, it's not going to be a chain. It's not going to be a place that I feel like, oh, I'm popping in because I just want to get a meal and get out. It's like, no, I want to sit down and eat in your spot.
For sure, yeah.
Did you kind of know that about the space before you went in? Like, you remembered fond things about going to Cilantro and be like, I'm going to sit down and enjoy a meal here?
Yeah, I would say I don't think I've ever took a meal out of there. There's, or did like takeout, I should say. Like I always sat down and ate, because like you have the giant windows, you're able to look out in the world and just kind of like watch the people.
Yeah, I was there when the high school let out.
Yeah, when the high school lets out, that is 15 minutes of chaos every day.
Dude, it was a crazy flood. And it wasn't like everyone was going home, okay? It was like they just kind of took over the neighborhood in about 15 minutes. I was like, this is kind of a vibe. It's also kind of intimidating.
And I think, honestly, because this year they took out the middle school, so up until this year, there was like another 350 kids that were a part of that. So there'd be, I think right now there's like 600 kids there. So like there'd be almost 900 kids just roaming the streets.
Dude.
It was
That's a wild moment in time. And it's
Yeah.
something to get used to, but it's also like, having that kind of hustle and bustle around makes you feel a little bit more involved in the world, where you can't just always be guarded by your habitual. It's like if you don't hate traffic, you can respect that. Like, everyone's out doing their own shit right now. You know, when the sidewalk's full, that means that life is being had, and that's kind of a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's almost eerie when it's not busy down there, because you're just like looking down the street, like, where is everyone? Like,
Yeah.
is it like, especially like winter break, or like, yesterday was a holiday, and so just people aren't walking to class, people aren't, like, the high school was out, so there just isn't that little like midday like burst like that.
Yeah. Did you do the college thing?
For a couple years, I went to NKU.
Nice.
And I ended up, I had a pretty bad car accident, and kind of like changed the directory of like what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then just never really went back.
So tell me about that. It's like you were going to school for.
I guess my major, when I first started, was history. I was going to be, my plan, I wanted to be a history teacher.
Mm-hmm. And then after the accident, it was just.
Yeah, and then after the accident, I guess I did go back a little bit, and then I had started working at a bar, and like was working a ton and like making good money, and I was like, I'm having fun doing this, and I'm like, I don't really like school, like didn't really have any real plan, but I was like, I'll figure something out, and then kind of just evolved from there into just this.
Well, I feel like that's how most people kind of get brought into the bar scene, where it's just like everything else just feels like I'm just doing what other people tell me to. And there's a certain amount of folks like ourselves that you kind of get welcomed into a world where it's just a night at a time. And we're just kind of making the most of that time together. It's not about your 5-10 year plan. It's about the moment that we're about to share. And whether that's over a drink or over a meal, there's something really refreshing about finding yourself like actually present for a couple minutes.
For sure.
You know, especially if you're doing the late night thing where it's like, man, 2 a.m. rolls around really quick, and there's a lot still happening after 2 a.m.
Yes,
You know, getting used to those characters in your life, like, you got to watch yourself, but boy, is it a silly good time.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people that are in my life to this day that, like, I consider either really good friends, best friends, like, that I would have never met otherwise.
Yeah.
And people that I talk to, I mean, I wouldn't have met my wife if I wouldn't have been in the industry. So,
did you meet your wife at one of your bar gigs?
yeah, she worked for me for a little bit.
No shit.
yeah.
Where at?
Barrio up in Northside.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite part of town to go out and have a drink and a meal in?
I would say
Babysitter already taken care of, you know?
yeah. I mean, because we lived in Northside for probably about 10 years. And that I grew to really love that neighborhood and the different bars and restaurants there. There's a ton of stuff down there. And honestly, man, I like going out in Clifton, like between Ludlow or like up in Clifton Heights, especially because you get to know. It's almost like the neighborhood you're working or living in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I worked in Mount Adams, like we all went out in Mount Adams. Your friend groups were up there because that's who you worked with, and you wanted to support that area because that's where you were.
Yeah.
So like if I'm working up there, like I was going to have dinner somewhere before like a shift started. Or now it's like I get off work and I would go home, like going towards North Side, and like would stop at Arlen's and get dinner, or stop at like Habanero and get lunch on my way home.
Yeah, I think there's so many weird pockets of Cincinnati, and that's one of the hard things to describe. And I think that's probably true for many, larger cities. But I think just as locals, like, it's hard to say that I don't just patronize where I work or where I live.
Yeah.
To venture out and to say, like, oh man, if it was a Vietnamese place called Cilantro and now it's going to be Good Plates, it's like, I might as well go in and see how much has changed and how much is still similar. It's like, there's things that are like lines of continuity in a neighborhood, whether it's the way you feel at the Comet or the way that you're going to feel when you go to the tavern in North Side.
Yeah.
There's certain homey aspects that are so specific to that neighborhood and that style of living that's so beautiful.
100%. And that we got a ton, the first probably like year, we got a ton of people that just like, maybe they came in late, where just like stuck their head in and like, what happened to Cilantro? I'm like, oh, they closed. Like, well, do you have Vietnamese food? Like, no, we're we're a different restaurant.
It'd be a little too on the nose to go back
like,
and do Vietnamese food.
Yeah, like, well, okay, and like they would just like leave, and it's like,
yeah,
like you said, like just that the curiosity of like what has taken something's spot, and going back to what you're asking with making like what we wanted from the space. One of the things that especially my wife said when we first opened was wanting it to be like somewhere you could go and have like, especially with our food, like it's very comforting food, but have a place that you could go and hang out, because a lot of our customers are kids that are from 4 or 5 hours away that have like don't have that kind of home cooked meal like ability like around them, or need somewhere just to go and sit and hang out and study. And we've always kind of wanted that, like the space to be that, and that's what it became, where everything on the wall, like there's like we have a gallery wall that 95% of the pictures on there like relate to something within our life, or like we painted or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think you really hit the nail on the head with just like there's something so comforting about walking in, and it's the same person who made your meal last time. And you can say hi, and you can build rapport and build this level of trust where that person's place in your life. It may just be that they help you out on the nights where you don't feel like cooking for yourself. Or it might be the place where you went on your first date, and to see that same person, it's like, I'd imagine it's a grind to be in that kitchen 60 hours a week, but there's such a level of homeliness that you get from going in and see a familiar face.
For sure.
And I think that same thing relates to the bartender that you always go to see on Tuesdays. Or I always tell folks when it comes to where I gig in Cincinnati, like, I'm a comfort food for people. I don't have any lack of gigs. You can come see me on any night of the week where you just say, I just want to go out and hang out somewhere with something that feels familiar. I can be the background of that, and I don't care if you're looking at the fish tanks at Low Spark, or if you're going into Ghost Baby, or if you want to come see me out in the burbs. There's always that kind of option.
Absolutely. And now we're starting to see it where it's pretty cool, because like we've been there the 5 years, so we got a full rotation of people that started as freshmen, graduated, and like now are coming back for like homecoming, and like coming in, especially like former employees or like just regulars that used to come in on time that like, man, I was like, where'd that person go? I haven't seen them forever. And it's like, oh yeah, like their life continued, and like they don't live here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But then like, yeah, they'll randomly stop in, and like it is cool to see like what we've built within like that within the community, and the people that want to come back in like that.
And there's a strange letting go when you're in a college part of town where it's like 4, 5, 6 years from now for the super seniors, you might be gone forever. And accepting that is very similar to the bar industry in and of itself. It's like, I can't assume that you're going to work here for the next 20 years like some kind of desk job that you love.
Yeah.
But while you're here, I'm going to love you, and when you go, I'm still going to have a spot that when you come back,
Yeah.
you can sit down and feel like you're back in that kind of mode.
For sure.
When it comes to the greater mission of being in restauranting and managing these kind of spots, like you've taken it to a new level with what you do around Thanksgiving. So kind of give me a background of when that started and what the mission is.
So it's our first year. So we opened August 12th of 2020. We're going into Thanksgiving 2020, and like COVID had kind of like started to like flare back up. But like we were grinding, and we're just like keep pushing. And I had the thought, I'm like, there's a lot of people here that like aren't going to be able to go home, because like there was so many travel restrictions, and not being able to like, you go and see someone, like you weren't allowed to like leave for 2 weeks, and everything that was going on. So I was like, why don't we like make some Thanksgiving food, and we'll just put a sign out like free Thanksgiving, whatever. And
did you have any questions about how you could afford something like that?
So the day we did it, like we literally just bought a turkey, did some potatoes. Like we didn't even close. We just had it like all on the stove, and then like if someone came in, we just had a box, and we just made a to-go box of it. And it wasn't even the cost was like, I mean, it wasn't a substantial amount by any means.
It's cost of a turkey. It's like feeding 15 to 30 anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, it wasn't like we were spending a ton of money on it. And I was kind of just like, we'll just see what happens. Like it's nothing, like it's not going to hurt anything. And like, if we have leftover food, we'll figure something out with it. And I want to say we had maybe like, I don't think we even put it on social media. Like if I like thinking back on it, I think we just had a sign outside, and maybe like had texted a few people that we knew like weren't going home or something like that. So we maybe had like 20 meals worth of food that we handed out, something like that. And then I was like, well, we might as well do this again for Christmas. And it was the same kind of thing. We kind of just made it. We were open, handed some out. And then later, like, I think someone heard about it or something and reached out. They're like, well, I would really want to help next year. And I was like, I didn't really think about this being a next year thing.
And this was right after Christmas?
Yeah, this was like pretty shortly after. And I was like, all right, well, like, let's like reconvene like a little bit closer and we'll see what we can figure out. And this guy was like, well, I want to donate some turkeys. And I was like, okay. Like, how many? He's like, I can probably get like 16 turkeys. And I was like, all right, well, that's awesome. But I'm like, what am I gonna like? What do you mean? Like, what am I gonna do with 16 turkeys?
Can you donate a fridge?
Yeah.
It's like there's logistical aspects of this.
That was a huge thing. And that honestly might have been the second year between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Or no, that would have been the second Thanksgiving. But yeah, we literally we got them frozen and we thawed them all and then like basically cooked them over the course of like 3 nights. Just like in giant hotel pans, just like 2 turkeys each and just like stuffed them in there. And it honestly, it kind of got started. We had a Facebook post that kind of like blew up with it. Which I guess would have been for Christmas, the second year. And it kind of just like some news media like outlets found it and like did a story and it kind of just like snowballed from there. And so we went from like the first year doing like 40 total meals and then it was like 250 and the third year was like 800 or something like that. And now last year we did 5,700 meals.
Say that again?
I think we did like 5,700 meals between Thanksgiving and Christmas last year.
How many people are on deck cooking?
We have, so I usually get there. I'll start cooking like the day before, like we switched to chicken.
That doesn't equate to 5,700 meals.
So with the chicken, so we switched to chicken just because it's a lot easier to not deal with the bones.
Yeah.
So the chicken I'll do like 3 or 4 days beforehand, just a couple 100 pounds at a time, like each day.
Had you ever cooked in this kind of bulk?
No.
Does it make life easier to cook in this kind of bulk?
It's honestly, it's not awful.
Okay.
Because you are just making so much. But then like so like Thanksgiving day of last year, I mean, we're prepared for about 3,000 meals is what we had enough food for. And we just, I mean, making all and don't tell anyone, but we just use instant mashed potatoes.
As you probably need to.
Yeah, it would be almost impossible to do.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be really unfortunate to sweep your corpse off the kitchen floor for trying to hand mash those potatoes.
Yeah. So but like I get there usually about 4 a.m. and just start just making stuff, and then have different warmers set up and kind of rotate stuff in and out of ovens and. Because it's a lot easier just to do it all at once rather than pre-mix stuff and then trying to warm it, like get it back up to temp and all that kind of stuff. But so then we have volunteers. We have like different stations set up where we have like a chicken station and they have 3 people that are like shredding the chicken, put it in a container, lid, passing it down, and then a potato station, gravy station, veggie station, stuffing station. And then, like a bagging station. So they're like our kitchen's probably the size. It's probably like 300 square feet. It's not very big.
It's pretty tight.
It's pretty tight. There's probably 15 people back there, and it's just so we basically just have one long table in the middle, lines of people on each side, and it's just like an assembly line of everything going down. And it's no reasons, no questions, no charge. Like you don't have to live in a certain area. You don't have to prove anything. It's not just maybe you really need a meal. Maybe you're very hungry. Maybe you have a family of 8 and you worked a 16-hour shift the day before and you don't want to spend all day cooking. You come in like, I need 8 meals, and they're bagged up, ready to go and out the door.
Yeah. there's really no wrong reason to want a home cooked meal on a holiday like that.
Absolutely not. And yeah,
And it's such a seat at the table moment that it's hard to imagine how you make that happen any year, let alone in 2020 and scaling that out. So the second Thanksgiving, you had someone that donated turkeys. When does the donation portion of this start and people can kind of get involved?
So along with for Thanksgiving, along with it, we also do a coat drive. So people honestly will donate coats and stuff throughout the year. Especially now that we've been doing it for a few years, and like we're a thought of like, oh, like I'll bring my coats there. And we have a huge basement, so we have the storage ability for a lot of it. But usually we start pushing like the first like end of September, early October, of if you want to donate coats, any kind of like monetary donations, food wise, it's almost easier for the monetary donation just because that way we make sure we're just getting bulk of like exactly what we need.
Yeah.
But plenty of people bring in like bags of canned goods, and we'll set up like a pantry area for people just to grab stuff if they need there too.
That's awesome.
And then we run everything. So like, and then like local news has been great. Like 5, 9, 12, 19, like they always run stories and really help get the word out because social media can really only go so far, and our reach isn't necessarily all the people that will need it. So like running it through the news always helps get that out there a little bit more too.
Yeah, well, most of the time social media lands you in the same circles of folks where it's like,
For sure.
I like the message, I don't need the meal. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And it's great to have that kind of goodwill and the recognition of later in the year. It's like, you know, there's plenty of reasons to go out and grab a nice meal somewhere, but knowing that later in the year this place is going to do work for the community that a lot of people aren't stepping up to do. You know, there's the vibe of what you typically get when you go to a soup kitchen or when someone just needs to grab something, and there's a home cooked meal and a seat at the table that feels so different. What was it like to do this at 5,700 meals and to sit down at the end of the day and to kind of equate that back to the mission of Good Plates versus just the standalone mission of this one event? Sorry about my dogs. They do this when people go walking.
Oh, no worries.
They sound like sirens.
I thought it was sirens. Yeah.
Yeah, no, those are it's two mini golden doodles
That's
losing
crazy
their
how-
shit.
That is crazy how it picks that up like that.
They did, yeah, especially with the headphones
Yeah.
on. They didn't do this when I was a kid. Okay, so I still work out of my parents' home. Shout out mom and
Yeah.
dad. But you know, I'll be working here, and they just one day learn that they can howl. And now when people come up to the door, they lose their goddamn minds. And it's the funniest thing if I'm down here like singing a ballad, trying to
Yeah.
track some shit, and then that happens. And I'm like, is it cool? No. Will I keep the take for me? Sure.
Sure. Yeah. It's
funny.
always a good memory.
Yeah. But there's the reason you get into restauranting. There's the reason you do this. Do they merge at the end, or does it just feel like part of what you're called to do as a person?
It definitely and like you were talking about like the recognition part and yeah, maybe it helps lead to some business and that's great, but it was never that was never the point.
Yeah.
But it definitely is been a good byproduct of it. Like it doesn't hurt.
Totally. Well,
So then,
good work brings good things.
Yeah,
You know, it's karmic
sure.
in that regard.
for sure, and I don't. At the end of it, I'm usually just like, whew, like
Yeah, exactly. Swollen.
yeah, it's just because I mean the place is just a disaster. There's just like
I didn't even think about that. Think about that dumpster. Think about the
Yeah,
chicken
it just-
bones.
and it's just there's and it's not necessarily like that it's like it's just not put back together like how like we don't reopen Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
We usually take so we do it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and then we have Thanksgiving, and then Friday, Saturday, kind of we take a chill day Friday, and then I'll usually go in Saturday and just reset and kind of regroup and stuff.
There's something incredible about walking into your place of business after that kind of thing goes off. It's like walking to an Airbnb after like a bachelor party. You stayed there for a week.
Yeah, and it's almost like there's almost like a stress to that part of it afterwards. It's like, oh, I got all this done, but then it's like there's still so much to do with it.
Yeah, there's no volunteers you're trying to pick up.
And so and that's honestly one thing that we started doing last year more was kind of spacing out volunteers. Some was because in my mind I'm like I'm here doing this like. I'm like, you're tired after 8 hours of doing this? I'm like, get back to work.
You don't understand this. This is the daily.
Yeah,
I'll be here for 16 hours.
Yeah, so we've kind of stretched it out now. So we do have like Moeller's wrestling team came last year.
No way.
Yeah, towards the
and
end
they're
of
just
it.
spitting in cuts, cutting weight still.
Yeah.
I went to school with those degenerates. Those are my people.
Yeah,
and kids are wearing trash bags underneath the school uniform. You're like, I don't think this is cool anymore, guys. I think that's 1978. You know.
So they came and helped towards the end, and they were a huge help with getting like garbage out and just like breaking stuff down, which is
they're keeping the bags.
yeah, they're dumping the trash out and taking the bags home with them,
keeping them wet.
And but then what's been great now with the Thanksgiving part is we would take a lot of the good publicity from that too, but we roll it right over into Christmas, and we do the same exact meal thing on Christmas.
Yeah.
And then donations a couple of years ago, like, I mean, donations started kind of, they roll in a pretty good amount. Like, it's people want to help, but don't always know how, don't know which way to do it, want to make sure their money is going to something good. So I think once we started showing like what we were actually doing with it has helped a lot. But 2 years ago, like, we're a couple of days out and we had all the food we needed. And I had probably a couple grand left from donation money. I'm like, what are we gonna do with this? Like, obviously can't just like find random people to give it back to, or like don't really want to like let it sit till next year. So I went out and just like we went to Walmart and just bought like $2,000 worth of just toys and like personal care products, and set up a big Christmas area. And it was cool. It was really cool, man. Like,
yeah, it's got to be a moment that catches you. And you know, there's a lot of ways in this world to donate money towards what you feel like is a good cause, but there's something about the way that it's a home cooked meal. It's a face you trust. It's people coming in that don't need to explain why they're in need or what's going on in their life. It's just going to make the day better.
yeah.
And that's a service that you take part in every day of the year. But today it comes in droves, and it's people that feel so seen in that. You know, you can't imagine that feeling till you're there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure these folks don't have time to stop and tell you how much it means in the 5,700 person line. But I'm sure a couple people stop you, and it's like, how is anything else ever better than this?
Yeah, like the amount of people that like someone will come back like, do you have time to talk to someone? And like, and I'll try to go talk to everyone I can, but obviously it's not always possible.
Yeah.
But even just like the emails and the messages we get afterwards, or handwritten cards, like I keep every card we get. They're all on a bulletin board. So like you said, like, you don't know where you're at till you're in that position, and it's just, I don't know.
I love the bulletin board, man. To have that on other days of the year and to go through that moment. What I now want to see, though, is the stocked basement full of coats during the middle of like July, where you're like, God damn, it's hot down here, and it's all wool.
And there is a lot of wool, but
yeah, one day you're going to be able to retire from kitchen duty, and we'll just put you in a Santa suit, and you can just stay out there and talk to people.
Actually, my father-in-law, he dressed up in his Santa suit last year.
That's awesome.
And just kind of walked the line and handed out like, because like we'll do hot chocolate and coffee and stuff too, and just walked through the line and like handed out hot chocolates and.
Yeah. And which day do you? So Thanksgiving Eve and Christmas Eve are both the days for this?
Yes.
Cool. So are there places where people can volunteer right now for all of it?
So we do have. I'll send you all the info like for people that want to. That would like to.
Yeah, I'll make sure I put it in my link tree and you can find it from all these clips.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so we usually I usually just have, once we start promoting it, I get just a ton of emails like, I want to volunteer, and like I usually wait till like that week or two before because
if you open that email, it's gonna get lost.
It's gonna get lost. And I usually I tell people, I'm like, please put holiday meal volunteer 2025. That way I can just search that subject line.
Yeah.
But also if I start scheduling volunteers in the middle of October, like
it gets messy quick.
It gets messy. I'm gonna get a whole lot of people like, oh, like I completely forgot, or
yeah. Have you ever thought about doing like a Google submission form where people can take their shifts in advance and they can schedule these things out, and then you can see how you need to disperse?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. If you want a hand setting that kind of thing up, that's something I can understand.
Yeah. That's honestly a good idea for the shift part of it, because it is.
There's a lot of constraints when it comes to that kind of thing. You are still talking about other people's holiday time, and yes, they want to participate, but there's a lot of questions of what are you doing on Thanksgiving Eve, you know?
For sure, yeah.
At some point, I need to get shitty drunk. We all know that.
Yeah.
Some people start earlier than others, you know?
And that is one thing with it is, because the doors open for at 11. I don't think we've ever really gone past like 4.
Before you're out of food?
Before we're out of food. I mean, it is just there's usually a line, down around the block by 9.
Yeah.
So the doors open, and it is just immediately we start doing meals we start bagging meals probably like a half hour before we actually open the doors. And then
what's that feeling like a half hour before doors open?
It is just, I'm just like, just guiding people. I'm like, you got to do this. Got to just like trying to like be calm with it. Cause like they're not employees, they're volunteers. And like, not everyone knows exactly like what to do.
They're also not your brother too, where it's like, I'm sure you two can be pretty blunt with each other when something needs happen.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about a volunteer where it's like, I can't remember your name, but I know you're really messing this part up. So I love you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Tread.
Yeah. And then we also work with a couple coalition groups that will take the food out to different like unhoused camp, like where they know a lot of unhoused camps are, or this year they're actually setting up a pickup point at Piat Park downtown.
It's amazing.
They've been doing that since I think our second or third year. A guy named Noam through CCS, and then Jordan with the Joe Bro Foundation. They both got to like kind of go to different areas and just know where the people need to be, and they'll both take out 300-400 meals worth of food and get them distributed.
That's amazing. Well, it's a great point to be made. It's like, the logistics by year 5 of this are so different than the initial inception point of year 1.
Oh, yeah.
Like, most of the folks that are in this situation probably don't have time to take a bus across town or to figure out a ride or whatever they got to do. Or some people are walking, They're walking, they're getting there early. So trying to get meals to arrive at the home where they're going to be eating is so important. But here's what I want to know. When do you eat Thanksgiving? What do you eat for Thanksgiving? After all this, you're like, I kind of just want to have a turkey sandwich and call it a day.
Yeah, so I usually the Thanksgiving, like once that day meals are done, there's a bar next door. Usually I'll usually go sit there by myself for a little bit. Like they'll put on like the whatever news, like usually like someone's there filming at the time, and like so sit there and like watch the news broadcast of it, like as we're like they're outside filming, and as we're sitting right there, like kind of funny.
Strongest margarita you could ever smell. It's like that. I earned this.
So I kind of just like to take some time to just kind of like just decompress from it, and then just get home. I don't like go out. I mean, the Thanksgiving Eve going out is kind of past my prime now.
Yeah, I'll be playing in the banks that night. So if you're free afterwards, I'll pop on by somewhere and find you.
So then I will, and then Thanksgiving itself, my brother's been hosting it for probably like 4 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, him and Sherry do it, and like him and her make everything.
That's amazing to be
Yeah.
hands off for that moment.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
But he's in the kitchen with you that whole day before,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
for sure, yeah.
Dude's a maniac.
Oh, yeah, whole day before and every day before then.
Yeah, exactly.
So
What's it like working with a brother in that kind of close proximity, like a 300 square foot kitchen where most of it's taken up by equipment? Let's be real here.
Yeah.
There's 20 feet to walk.
yeah, I mean, like it's good because like I mean we can have our times where we're just like we're talking about something within life or like we're in the same fantasy football league, like talking like sports, talking like that. Or there's just times like we just no one wants to talk and we won't say a word for 2 hours, but like it doesn't matter. Like it's not
Yeah.
like you're sitting there with like another employee and it's like oh, this person's not talking to me. Like what is happening? Like we just both sometimes like have that time where it's whatever. Like maybe one of us is mad. Maybe like we don't feel well. Like maybe we're just tired and like just
Maybe it's some
there's
petty
just-
fantasy football shit, you know?
maybe fantasy football shit. Or it's just like we know we don't have to have a conversation like every second of the day.
Yeah. And the comfort of silence between siblings is very different than the comfort between coworkers of silence, you know?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So like,
It's like, dude, I've mean mugged you for a week and a half before. Like this is fine.
yeah, and it's like, and then my wife is a big part of the restaurant too. So like, there's plenty of days where it's my wife's working in the front of the house, and then me and my brother are in the back of the house, and it's like, if you've ever met my wife, like she very much enjoys talking and talking. So she'll come back in the kitchen and like having a stuff today, and it's just like just stare at her. I'm like, yeah, I get like, yep.
I'm a little empty inside at the moment.
Yeah,
hon.
like I just like we're just like she's like, why are you mad? And it's like we're just busy. Like we're just working. Like
Yeah.
I don't have any comment on what was said.
Yes.
like sorry.
No, it's the
sorry
truth,
to
man.
her.
I always tell people I am the think before I speak, and my wife is the think before I speak, and I'm the speak before I think.
Yeah.
You know, so there's always got to be that dynamic in
For
the
sure.
relationship where it's like, I have nothing to say to the stupid that you just muttered off because it sounds like you didn't think it through. And I'm like, absolutely, honey. I thought none of that before I said it, and I totally get why you're speechless right now.
Yeah. And that's I'm very much ponder what I'm gonna say first and then try to like so I can just say it to make sense. But then it's you take too long to respond. And then like
Yeah.
I can get that too, but
Do you feel like, you know, there's so many different things on the plate where people might look at you and say like, oh, he owns a restaurant. But there's so many different dimensions of this, from just knowing how to manage a bar and a business to being a chef, even if you don't want to call yourself classical. There's a lot of guys that don't read music. They're still musicians. You know? That's why I kind of make the equivalent.
Yeah.
And then there's this side that's clearly a huge part of your soul and your person. Is there any plans down the road to scale any of these in certain ways? Would you ever do a second Good Plates location?
We had done the location at the Banks, with the food window
In the park?
in the park, yeah. And just recently, kind of let the park take that over.
Mhm.
It had just gotten to be too much to do both and not have. We were losing focus on both of them
Yeah.
to where it just made more sense to just refocus on Clifton and allow them to be able to focus on the restaurant part down there and grow it a little bit more.
Well, there's such a different feeling, again, when you're not in the kitchen doing those
For
things.
sure.
And how you balance that with it being a family operation. It's like, well, there's two brothers that can split up. You know, are we going to do that 7 days a week now?
Yeah, and so at this point, I mean, will we ever have another one? Or do I say we'll never have another one? No, like, definitely would. It was a plan from the beginning. It was like eventually we'll have more.
Mm-hmm.
But now maybe it's more we looking at it as more businesses within the business. Like my wife really built a pretty good like charcuterie building business.
Yeah.
Or charcuterie board business.
So maybe like the catering world of
Yeah,
that?
so a little bit more on the catering side, and a little bit maybe we started doing like we close at 8, partly with the family part, and then also I never wanted it to be a bar, never wanted to have to deal with pictures being stolen off the wall, like being in the college town. Like I didn't want that part of it.
foreheads going through drywall at an inordinate rate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, do you know Danny at Fishbowl?
Yeah, of course.
He put up a great picture the other day of just like the men's restroom. Where, like, I've walked in that bathroom on a gig many a times and just seen like the sink and the urinal are both off the wall, and it's not because a plumber's there doing an inspection. It's because the drunkest, biggest dude you could find was like, I bet I could take that off there. And,
and they
listen,
do it.
He's a Shark Tank success. He's really prolific at what he does. He's passionate, you know?
Yeah, so like exactly. Like I didn't want to have to deal with all that. But part of being able to try to grow the business and make more money, we have to find more ways to bring in revenue that's outside of those times. So like we started doing late night food, but we basically like block off the front door and like we'll take orders at the door, and eventually we'll have it set up where we'll do like late night DoorDash and stuff like that. But we don't do our full menu. We do like 2 items.
Nice.
And they're like something that's not on the menu and like things that we just want to mess around with. And like we call it late plates.
That's awesome.
So it's just kind of like building the business within the business and expanding like under the same roof.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Grubhub monster trucks?
Yeah.
Dude, I was just at Miami and I saw those and I was like, are these things insulated to like a T? Like, what about the guy before me who got like really like potable, like maybe he got the best curry you could ever imagine, but I don't want my spaghetti and meatballs going in the curry monster truck.
Yeah.
Now, it's like my Texas toast is a little less Texas than it's ever been, you know?
Yeah.
I really love the charcuterie catering thing. Cause like, how many times have you gone to a wedding and the charcuterie boy is just like a guy that's like taking like squares of cheese and just putting it on there with like no character. It's like there's no real plating to that kind of thing. It's just an easy solution to that. So
for sure,
there's so many ways of developing supplemental businesses that doesn't have to be a duplicate of the things that are so hard to duplicate, which is you and your wife out front. Yeah. I really can't imagine that in the world of food. It's like I see it enough with bands where it's like, oh, we have 2 versions of this band so that we can keep one gig and we can go out and do another, or we can kind of subcontract those things.
Yeah.
And personnel is harder than ever, especially when you got college kids where it's like by the time that you're great at your job, you just graduated. And it turns out you're going to be a physical therapist, so you're definitely not going to stay in the food world, even if I ask you nicely.
Yeah.
You know?
And we just went through that in May. We have anywhere from like 5 to 7 servers on staff, give or take. Everyone, I think we had 6 at a time. They all graduated at the same time.
Stop.
We had one girl that had like one more class to do. So she was a summer graduation, but more or less the same class.
Yeah.
So starting in August for the fall semester, we had a brand new staff.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy.
And like had to completely, and it was almost like we were opening again.
Yeah.
But instead of opening and having like 10 customers a day, we're still going at what we were with the staff that had been there combined. I don't know, probably 15 years out of the 6 people. I mean, we had one girl that actually didn't even graduate. She just happened to leave about the same time that had been there since we opened. So it was just like trying to train everyone, but at the same time, like we're so busy like cooking, like it was a lot. It was a lot.
And it's a weird logistical hiccup to try to manage. Like we need to have an even amount of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and super seniors that are on here that really know the ropes.
Yeah.
But there was something about like when I went in there last time with my friend Tasia. When I asked the server what her favorite thing on the menu was, you would have thought I asked like, "What's your favorite part of Christmas?" Like the look on her face is like blissful. You could tell that she really loved the menu. And that's a hard thing to find in people, Like, there's people at, like, my local diner that I go to in Fort Wright that have been there for 20-plus years. You don't get that in a college part of town, but you still can get the personal resonance when you put that time in. And it is a small staff. So are you actively looking for folks to come in and apply and whatnot?
So now we're all fully staffed up. I mean,
Thank God.
I was able to hire. I mean, that is one nice thing with being where we are is I don't even know to say we're hiring. I still get like 2 or 3 applications a week. Or like
someone actively chewing on a brow like, you're hiring?
Yeah, that happens quite a bit. Or just people like they'll be walking past and like we get people that come in a full suit with their resume. We get people that are in their pajama pants and they're like, I could work here. You hiring? I'm like, probably not. Like,
They're
well, I think we'll
holding a
pass.
Grubhub monster truck, like, this is my pet Douglas.
Yeah.
It's like, you might be a crazy person, but I like your vibe.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
So
it is easy to get it staffed, and we found our staff that we have now is we kind of do have that a few different age ranges there to kind of like negate that in 2 years.
Yeah. So when you say no pork on the menu, is there like a really active thought of just like food allergies are more and more prevalent as time goes on, and some things are better yet just left off the menu than included? Or is it just like sourcing that food in a way that you like?
So I guess our meatballs do have pork in them.
As most do.
Yeah, they're a chorizo. We use a pork chorizo, mix it with the beef.
And that's for the binding of the meatball, right?
So then for the binding we make like an oat flour. So instead of breadcrumbs, and then the fat, and then a little bit of bacon fat in there.
Gotcha.
So like the fat part kind of helps bind that with the oats.
Yeah.
No, and honestly, there isn't really any real reason that we don't have a pulled pork sandwich. It was spacing for what like we wanted to serve, or like the spacing of like being able to serve it. So like I love a good Cuban sandwich.
I feel like I've had one of your Cuban sandwiches before.
Could be.
Yeah,
We had one downtown for a little bit.
Okay.
Or no, sorry. We had one in
A Chapter?
Yeah, we went on a Chapter.
Cool. I think that's when I would have had it. And that's like
For sure.
panini press.
Yeah.
Oh.
But with being a smaller kitchen, I knew we needed to cross utilize a bunch of stuff. I was like, man, I really want a Cuban sandwich, but how many people are going to be putting pork on their Caesar salad? Because like we use the same chicken for that we use for a sandwich. So we have a sandwich called the Good Chicken that is kind of Cuban inspired, where it has ham, it has Swiss, and a little bit different sauce. And we originally were pressing that too, and kind of switched how it's made now. But like, so it's kind of Cuban inspired to still be able to have it, but not.
Yeah.
And then be able to have that chicken used for all of our quinoa bowls, all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah. What was the term you used? Like cross-utilized?
cross-utilizing, like,
What an interesting thing that people don't think about when it comes to that. It's like you really need to compare it to a factory where it's like how many of the vehicles are going to take the same lugs here. Like
yeah.
you can't have something marinating for 16 hours a day. You know, that's not going to be used in a variety of the products. There's only we can't house 16 turkeys right now.
Yeah. So we try to, I would say there's probably, so like we have Brussels sprouts as an appetizer. Then we
Which
have,
bag?
thank you. And then we have a Brussels and mushroom quinoa bowl. Then the mushroom, we have a turkey sandwich that you can add mushroom to or sub mushroom to make it a vegetarian sandwich. So taking those things where there's at least one other option on the menu that we're using it for. So it's not, if this item's not selling, like there's very, very little waste. We have, almost zero waste.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When you go out to other places, do you sometimes think about like, you know, what are my customers asking me for that we might have a hole in the menu, and then try to eat in that category to get inspired by things? Or do you more just like hear the feedback and say, oh, like a substitute for mushroom on a vegetarian sandwich is an awesome option that we're already going to have in the kitchen?
I think that maybe in the beginning, we haven't honestly changed the menu up a ton since we opened.
Mm-hmm.
We added a few things here and there, but I feel like our menu is already so broad on what you can. Like you can come in and get that meatball sub with poutine and a thing of wings and eat like it's like a football Sunday, or you can come in and get a veggie quinoa salad and Brussels sprouts, or like and be on the healthier side, or flavor profile wise, we have like a curry chickpea bowl that's, it's by no means authentic, but it just has that flavor profile.
Yeah.
Or we have a Creole bowl that's more like that, kind of like Louisiana, like gumbo style. So there's just so many different options within flavor profiles that we don't have a ton of like, oh, I wish you had this, or like be able to do something different.
Yeah. But it's good to stay within your means in that regard. It's just,
Yeah.
to me, it seems impossible to put together a menu, but I imagine it's also like sequencing an album where it's like thinking about how this thing reads on the page to take you from the simplest answer to the most interesting options in a way that feels like as you go, everyone's gonna find something that they land on. And
Yeah.
5 years in, like, what do they say is the mark for a bar or restaurant? It's like if you can survive the first 3 years, then you got a chance. But
Yeah, it's like the first. I think it's like the first most 90% fail in the first year, and the other 9% fail in the first 5 years, or something like that.
you made it.
Yeah, so we made it. We're good now.
But it is crazy. I mean, like, look at the places in your neighborhood. Keep an eye on these things because it is so hard to make it in the world of food, especially when you look at even like the larger chains are closing. Like the last time I saw TGI Fridays that looked like they were doing well was a very different day in my childhood. Like it's been a while, you know?
And they actually, like Friday, like there's not a Fridays open in Ohio anymore.
Really?
I know Cincinnati. I think maybe all of Ohio.
Yeah. Well, all I know is if they didn't have Flavor Flav, Red Lobster wouldn't be making it. Did you see that press?
Yeah.
It's like he bought the whole menu twice. I'm like, that's not what keeps a place afloat. That's like actually the worst nightmare where it's like, we haven't made this in 9 months. Flavor wants it. You know?
Yeah, and like you said, like there are like, and there are like especially with bigger chains, like a lot of like there's a lot of different like real estate factors and like things that kind of go in with those.
Yeah. That's what I didn't realize about when a lot of the frishes were closing. It's like people that are buying these are buying it for the property, and then they're selling the big boys on eBay. I'm like, it's such a profitable venture to buy failing frishes. Did you see the picture of all the frishes big boys like behind a fence?
Yeah.
It's just like this needs to be like a gangland doc. Like we can animate these with AI. We can do this.
That would that would be awesome.
That would tight.
Yeah. That whole like that's a whole fiasco between like Frisch's and like the Big Boy Company and then Dolly's and all that. How that all worked out.
Is Frisch's not the big boy company?
So Big Boy, I could try and explain it, but I would probably mess something up. But like Big Boy itself, like Frisch's is like a subsidy of Big Boy, and then like when the Dolly's restaurants moved in, that was basically Frisch's but in Michigan. So like that.
It's like how they have Checkers versus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like that group that owned those Dollies had bought the abandoned Frisch's down here, but then Frisch's sued and like because I think all those Dollies just closed too.
Gotcha.
So there's like it's a whole like tangled web, but it has not a lot to do with food.
Okay, understandable.
Yeah.
There's something wrong about having the parent company named Big Boy. Because it's like Big Pharma, Big Egg, Big Boy over here. It's just like, man, I would rebrand that too if I was at it. But there's something really trippy about those large restaurant groups where, you know, when you compare what you do as a sole business owner versus larger restaurant groups where it's like, I can take an L on a couple locations because I have 10 flagships that stand in perpetuity. And it's very quick before the lone businesses can't compete with even the small restaurant groups in your town that might have 5 or 6 locations of different things. So trying to maintain a competitive atmosphere to that while also saying, like, it's just a family that runs this. It's a family and 12 college kids, you know? And it's like versus having lifetime employees that have moved around with 6 locations and they're bar rescuing 6 days a week. You know?
Yeah.
Do you think in time, if you ever branched out, it would be something that would be not food as well? Would you ever go back into just bar?
I wouldn't mind having just a bar.
Cool. No food. Don't worry about that. Just
like hole in the wall, kind of like where there isn't. You don't have to have hole in the wall neighborhood and maybe a little food with it, but like just something that's almost in the Good Plate style of like being homey, like somewhere to come hang out, and like it's not. You're not having to do different theme nights, and like you're not trying to bring in 1,000 people a night.
Yeah.
Like,
how have you felt when the changes have happened in the bar industry in the last 5 years? Where it's like, I think I heard someone say alcohol sales are down like 40%.
Yeah, I think overall, like, and I think a lot of that's more like packaged. Like
okay, not many people are buying Busch Light at the grocery.
Yeah, like the packaged stuff that you're buying at the store. Like I think there's like where a lot of those kind of numbers of like sales are down.
versus general bar atmosphere. It's like kids are still going out and buying lemon drops, and
For sure. Yeah.
it's sad that the THC seltzer thing is kind of up in question because you did have a lot of people pivot, and that's just their preference.
And I think that actually was a big part of it too, was how popular those became, and who knows, with like all of that's going on is crazy too, like how they're basically just limiting it for.
Yeah. Well, every state's got to work through their hiccups in that. And it's like you always have both sides of the conversation. But I think at the end of the day, like it's hard to let these things roll out and then pump the brakes when people have already changed infrastructure for this.
Yeah, that's what I hate to see. Like a lot of these, especially like in the Clifton area, you have so many people that all the different smoke shops and stuff that were selling different products, or people that put a lot of time and energy and money into building out brands. Then it's all of a sudden just like 50 West has their THC brand that's delicious, and they're just like, sorry, can't sell this anymore.
Yeah, or Urban Artifact.
Or Urban Artifact.
Urban's done a great job of integrating Costel. I think that's the name of the brand.
That sounds right.
Yeah, but then you still have a lot of these issues with just like people have chosen the way they like to party long before this, but in letting these kind of things surface in the marketplace, now you start to have these social environments again kind of coming back to life. And then you cut that again, and now there's a bit of a rift because not many folks like to go out to a late night bar unless they can participate in the party. Like,
Yeah.
I've been sober for a year and a half, and if I wasn't playing there, it would be hard to find me in one of those spots unless they serve great coffee. It's just like everyone's got their butter, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You got to worry about people. In
Yeah,
that regard.
absolutely. And I've seen like essentially I just referenced Clifton because that's where I'm at now. Like the bar that's next to us, like they're having like their best 18-month stretch like ever right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have a great staff, and I mean, the staff that's there like cares about the place, which is always huge. And it just they've been there for, they're probably coming up on like 20 years, give or take. And that's like kind of a cool part of the area we're in, is almost everything up there for the stretch of road we're in is independently owned.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so you're able to like, you can go get like a ramen bowl, or then like a euro, and like, or a sandwich from us, and like there's the 3 or 4 bars right there that are just like, I mean, they're just old college bars, but like still like the character of it, and like
Totally. Well, again, like the familiar face, you know, when I think about the best bars I've ever played in my life, you know, some of it is like, this is where they go on Thursdays after work. That's just the vibe, you know, but so much of it comes down to who's the face that's going to be pouring the drink. Who's the friend that I check in to see that's going to ask me how I'm doing and mean it, you know?
Yeah.
Who's the person that's behind the grill, you know? And really embracing that as something that's not dispensable in the local economies of whatever it is, music, food, art. It's people that make that difference. And, you know, for the many years I've known you, you've been more than just a coworker and more than just a face. You always treated me like family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And being around your family has always meant a lot to
Yeah.
me. So I really admire the work that you've been doing in the scene for so long, man. And I look forward to seeing how much of a step up this year is. Hopefully, logistically, it keeps up well and we can spare your lower back. Because
Yeah.
I'd imagine that you can be a broken man after this.
There usually is a massage pretty shortly after, for sure.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Well, tell them how, again, they can find you for Good Plates, and then how they can volunteer and be a part of the food drives.
Yeah, so Instagram's the best way, at Good Plates Eatery. We have all of our links on there for volunteering, for donations, kind of just following along with everything through the family. We very much treat it as like, yeah, we show the food, but like you'll see our kids on there. You'll see our general life too, if you want to follow along with that. And like you said, getting to know you over the years, and like I remember when you first started playing, like getting to know your parents, because like they're coming in and like watching you and hanging out, and
we loved that breakfast, dude. That was where it was at. Cool. They could go to mass at Immaculata and walk down, and then it's mimosa time.
Yeah,
my dad was like, "Let's get this."
Absolutely. So that was always really cool to be a part of too.
Yeah. I look forward to it, man. It was the best. It was the best Sunday morning start for a college kid. I had a blast doing that. So it's great to have this friendship last throughout that.
Absolutely, man.
So Good Plates Eatery, they can volunteer, they can donate through all those mechanisms. I'll make sure that's linked on my link tree as well. So go to the links in the bio. And in the meantime, stop in and get something to eat, brother. You're a very special member of our community, and I appreciate the hell out of you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Peace, friends.